Hi everybody, I have some pretty amazing news to share with you today. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm TJ. I'm the mother to a beautiful little girl called Baby Star who's almost 2 years old. I've been making videos since she was 3 months old about my journey of having my baby by myself at the age of 48 as a single mother by choice using donor sperm and donor eggs. And my mission is to help inspire and coach and mentor and support other women around the world who are wanting to have a baby at an older age or by themselves or in some other unusual way that is not how it's normally done. And those of you who've been following my journey probably know that it never, ever, ever occurred to me to have a second baby. I was always just having one. I shared in my last video all the back and forths I've been having all year about whether I should have a second one or not, how that idea actually came to me out of the blue and I never thought it would. And then once it came to me, I couldn't shake it. 8 months passed and I did so much work to try and clear all the fears I had about what if I don't have a second baby and Baby Star's all alone in the world after I die, or what if I do have a second baby and it ruins our beautiful life. Like, I had to work through so many fears, and I've made a whole other video telling you about how I worked through all those fears on both sides of the argument. If you haven't seen that video, you can see it here. So basically, since filming that, I did make the decision to go ahead with this. It often takes me a long time to get around to editing my videos and putting them up on YouTube, just because I am a solo mum to a toddler and I'm a stay-at-home mum and I have no help and no family here. So the only time I have to edit videos is like 11 p.m. at night. So there actually has been a bit of a delay since I filmed that video. So in the interim, what has happened is I've actually done an entire round, an egg donor round. So basically, I had 2 embryos left over from when I created Baby Star. So I didn't have to go and recreate any embryos. I already had the embryos, but I had to prepare my body to put one of those embryos into. So when I had Baby Star, I did what's called a natural cycle, which means my body was ovulating and we could work my cycle around my periods, and I didn't have to take nearly as much medication. But because I'm not having periods now, I had to do what's called a medicated cycle, which meant I actually had to take hormones to kind of artificially give myself a period. So I basically had to go on the pill, the good old-fashioned pill. The last time I took the pill, I was probably 22. It was probably in the early 1990s, and I was taking it to not get pregnant. This is really weird. It was the exact same pill. I had to take it every single day to get pregnant. So basically, I took that for 3 weeks, and then when I stopped taking that pill, it brought on a period a few days later, about 4 days later, which was really weird, suddenly getting a period. And I've got to tell you, I was really emotional when I got that period. I was crying. It was Baby Star come running into the bathroom and she saw the blood. And I realized, this is my only chance to ever talk to my little girl about my own bleeding, because I'm never going to have another period. This has been an artificially created one. So I really cried. That is one of the downsides of doing this at an older age, that she's not going to get to see me every month having periods and dealing with that. So that will be hard for her, that she'll miss out on seeing that, but I will support her through it anyway as much as I possibly can. I'll have to think of strategies around that. So basically, I took the pill, I had the period. So the day my period started was called day 1 of the cycle. So then I had to start taking estrogen, which is just to help, prepare my lining of my uterus and everything for the embryo to be implanted. And so I took estrogen for a couple of weeks in the lead up to the embryo transfer. And before I talk about the embryo transfer and everything that happened after, I have to let you know that in those couple of weeks when I was taking estrogen, I had a side effect, but I didn't realize it was from the estrogen because I just didn't put 2 and 2 together. Like, I'm a breastfeeding mother. I'm a breastfeeding mother to an almost 2-year-old. And I've been doing it for nearly 2 years and I love it. I don't even think about it. And all of a sudden, it became excruciatingly painful. Like I had a newborn. Like, when Baby Star was 10 weeks old, I called a lactation consultant because I was in so much agony. Like, my breasts were like bruised and I used to be like this every time she would feed. So I called a lactation consultant who really helped me, and we solved the problem. And then it's been fine for the last, nearly 2 years. And I called the same lactation consultant 2 years later. I was like, this is so weird. I've got this toddler, but I think maybe she's biting me. Maybe because her molars are coming in, she's biting me, but I'm terrified every time she puts her mouth on my boobies that I'm going to get injured. Anyway, so we talked it through over the phone with the lactation consultant. And after she asked me lots of questions, we realized that it wasn't anything to do with Baby Star. It was the estrogen that I was taking. It had basically made my breasts really sensitive, like some women get during their period or some women get when they're pregnant. I was like, oh. So once I realized that, then of course I stopped being scared of my daughter and I relaxed because I knew that she couldn't injure me. It wasn't her, she wasn't injuring me. It was just that I was sensitive, and actually that helped a lot just psychologically, and I was able to relax. And so then on the 25th of September, I had 2 embryos to choose from. One was a day 5 embryo, one was a day 6. And because Baby Star had been a day 5 embryo, I was much more attached to the day 5 one just because it seemed like so similar to my daughter. So I was like, please put the day 5 one in. They said they would anyway. So apparently that's the one they would have put in. And last time when I had Baby Star, there was this mystical, magical moment when I met the embryologist. And she was a tall blonde with green eyes who was born on the same day as me. She was at the same birthday as me. That was so weird. This time, obviously, that didn't happen again. But it was also a woman, which I found really beautiful. I love the fact that there's female embryologists. She was quite a young woman and she was really lovely. And so I just had a really good feeling about it. It's a different doctor. My fertility doctor has changed because my old doctor has retired. And, I don't feel as much affinity with this second doctor that I did with the first, but it all went fine. And because I'm a solo mom, my daughter is not in daycare. I look after her. I work when she's asleep and I play with her when she's awake. And I've never really used a babysitter even with her. So I didn't really have anyone to leave her with. So the doctor allowed me to bring her into the scan. So it was actually really beautiful. I had her in her stroller, her pram, next to me. And you pull out the iPad for times like this. I pulled out my iPad and had an educational show on for her, and she was just sitting there watching her educational show while I'm lying there about to put her potential brother or sister into my womb. It was so weird. And the song she was listening to was a song about pizza, and me and the doctor and the embryologist were all laughing that, like, this baby, if it turns into a baby, is probably going to really like pizza. There's a big screen and you see a big picture of the embryo. It's all blown up really, really big so you can see it. And then there's a screen next to you where you can see the actual moment where they put the embryo in. And last time with Baby Star, I actually saw the moment when this thing just whoosh. This time I must have blinked and missed it, but they told me it had gone in and he said it went in the right spot. So I was like, okay. Yeah, so then the embryo is in my room, and of course you then have to wait. You just have to wait. I have a community that I run. It's called the My Baby Dream community, and there's women all around the world in it who are on an unusual path to motherhood. Some of them are wanting to be solo mums. Some of them are wanting to be older mums. If you're interested in it, you can find out about it below. But anyway, the point is I was making lots of videos for those women during this process because I share more like behind the scenes from my life inside the community, and Baby Star is in the videos and she's not on my YouTube videos because these are very public. And I was saying to them in one of the videos that, like, it really felt different this 2-week wait than the last time. I mean, last time, of course, I've been wanting a child my whole life. It was all my hopes and dreams. I remember just thinking about it all the time, and I was trying to distract myself, and I was walking around with my hand on my tummy like, is there a baby in here? Oh my God. It was just all so magical. And I remember going to sound healing and asking everyone to sing to my tummy. It was just like such a magical 2 weeks. And I contrast it to this time. I've got an almost 2-year-old toddler that I'm looking after. And she's running around. She's getting up to mischief. I've got to get her to bed. I've got to change her diaper. I've got to get her fed. I've got to look after her. I've got to play with her. So that was taking up all my time. So the 2 weeks went really fast. But also, I'm just so obsessed with her. Like, I'm so in love with her. I just love spending time with her all day that my heart is so full. So I don't have that kind of yearning, oh God, I hope this works kind of feeling that I had last time. It's much more like, I surrender, universe. If there's a baby really wanting to come in, which I've been feeling all year that there is, I will open myself to that baby. And if there's not, we'll be okay. So I really feel so neutral about it this time. And because I already have Baby Star, that place in me that was yearning my whole life for a child has already been met. So if there is a second child, of course I'll love it and adore it and it'll be amazing, but it really is a bonus. So it was just a very different feeling in my body in those 2 weeks while I was waiting, and in my heart and my emotional space. I also was very aware that there were women in my community, women who I support and mentor, who were also doing embryo transfers around the same time. So I was supporting them through that and hoping it would work for them, and almost feeling guilty, like, what if mine works and theirs doesn't? Like, God, it's just like there was just other factors I was thinking about other than just my own belly. And so I really just kind of cruised through the 2-week wait. And then on about, I think it was about day 9 maybe, after the embryo had been put in, I started to have cramping and a little bit of blood. And I thought it might be implantation cramps because obviously I'm not getting my period anymore. So probably not my period. So that means it could be implantation cramps, but it also could just mean things are going wrong. So I started to freak out a little bit, and I started to get really emotional and cry. And I had this night where I really thought this might not have worked. And I knew I was going to do the pregnancy test the next morning. And because that would have been, I think, day 10 or 11 when I had planned to do it, and I was supposed to be going to get my blood test. And it was the night before that I started getting this cramping and this bleeding, and I was really worried, and I started really, really crying, and I started messaging all my close friends, the people who knew about it. I hadn't told that many people yet, but I had told a few. And I said, I'm so upset. I'm just suddenly realizing I really do want this to work. I actually really do want this baby, because I was so upset at the thought that it might not have worked. And I didn't actually realize that until now. It was the cramping and the bleeding that made me realize how much I wanted it. And then one of my friends wrote back to me. She said, you're probably pregnant. It's probably pregnancy hormones that's making you this upset. And I was like, oh, wow. She might be right, because I really was very emotional. And I'm normally not. I'm normally a very calm person. It takes a lot for me to get upset. So I was like, wow, maybe I'm actually pregnant. I don't know. So it was this kind of roller coaster. But what if it didn't work? Maybe I'm pregnant. What if it didn't work? Maybe I'm pregnant. So before I tell you what happened the next morning, I'll just tell you the reason I waited so long to pee on a stick is because I'm someone who doesn't like to pee on the stick early. Because I know you get false results. It's just stressful. I don't do anything that's stressful in my life. My whole life is built around staying calm. And also, I knew that from the day I find out, I'm going to have to deal with a roller coaster. Either I find out it didn't work, and then I have to be hit with the grief that one of these 2 remaining embryos, possibly baby star's only siblings in the entire world, full blood siblings, is just gone down the toilet, and I would just be devastated. And that would have been a roller coaster of negative emotions. Or if I found that it did work, I would be like, oh my God, I'm having a second baby by myself at age 50. What the hell have I done? Like, that could have set off a whole nother cascade of emotions. So either way, whatever happened on the day I found out, I was going to have to deal with a lot. So I was quite happy to leave that as long as possible until finding that out. I did not need to test early. I did not. And a lot of the women in my community, my online community, were testing early. And everyone was asking me, when are you going to test? When are you going to test? I was like, I am not testing to the absolute last minute. Because whether it's a yes or a no, it's going to be big for me. So I waited till the day when my clinic had scheduled me to come and do my beta blood test. The thing I do like to do is on the day of the beta, I do like to pee on a stick that morning. And it's because I don't want to be told by a stranger if I'm pregnant or not. So I wait as long as possible. And then I know that by that day, it's probably going to be pretty accurate to pee on a stick. And I'd rather see it with my own eyes so I can process it myself rather than be told by a random stranger whether I'm pregnant or not. That's just me personally. I want to see it myself in the privacy of my own bathroom at 5 a.m. That's just me. But I'll never forget, as long as I live, that morning 2.5 years ago when I found out I was pregnant with baby Star. Like, it still makes me cry. It was just the most amazing moment of my whole life because, I had already tried before with my own eggs and it hadn't worked. So I was expecting to see negative result. And I had had a bit of cramping as well that time, and I was really worried it hadn't worked. And I will never forget the absolute shock and thrill and awe and majesty and just amazingness and crying and just the whole overwhelm of that moment when I saw that positive. And I remember thinking, there's no way it's going to hit me as big as that this time because, it's just not as big of a thing for me this time around. But you know what? It did really hit me. It did really hit me. I cried my eyes out when I saw this result. I'm actually pregnant. Can't believe it. I'm 50 years old and I'm pregnant. I'm just feeling so grateful, so in awe. The weirdest thing was baby Star was in our bedroom because she and I sleep together in a bed, and the bathroom is attached to that room. It's kind of like a big master bedroom with a bathroom. And so I had to go really quietly and open all the packaging and pee on the stick and then sit there and not say anything, not make any noise because I didn't want to wake her up. It was 5 a.m. She usually wakes up about 7:30. So I saw that I was pregnant and I was supposed to go back and crawl back into bed with my baby and fall asleep with my arms around her. And I just remember lying there with my arms around her thinking, I just want to tell her that she might have a baby sister or a baby brother, that there might be one baby sibling in my tummy, but I don't want to wake her up. And also, you can't tell a toddler that you've had a positive pregnancy test. If you're going to tell a toddler, you've got to wait till you're much further along, till it's really, really real. You've passed the first trimester and your tummy's getting big, and then they can start to actually understand what you're talking about. It's not going to mean anything to say, oh, I've got a positive pregnancy test. So I didn't say anything. So I just lay there. And I was just like lying there going, this is surreal. And I started texting people while I was lying there, texting my dad and my sister, texting everyone. And it's just been amazing. So then I went and did my blood test, and the most amazing thing happened on the way to the blood test. You know how sometimes songs just come on your phone and then connect to your car, and suddenly there's a song in your car? That happens to me every now and then, that I just switch on my car and some music blasts that's coming from my phone through the speaker. And this random song came on just as I started driving to the blood test. It was a piece of music I have never heard before. I don't know how it got on my iPhone. But it was really ethereal, kind of like the music of the spheres and the heavens and angels. And this music came on, and I glanced down at my car, and the song was called Stars. I was like, oh my God, I'm being serenaded by a choir of angels to a song called Stars. It was like the spirit of this baby was singing to me, and my mother's spirit was singing to me, and all the spirits of all my ancestors were singing to me, and I was bawling my eyes out driving to this blood test, and baby star in the back, and I'm crying my eyes out. It was just the most amazing thing. And then I did the blood test, and it confirmed the result. The clinic called me, confirmed the result, and then a few days later I got another blood test which confirmed it's still going, and next week I'll be going for my first scan. So if you're seeing this video, then it's because there was a heartbeat and it was positive. Obviously, if there's no heartbeat and the whole thing is over, I won't post this video because I'll be too depressed to post it. So if you're seeing this video, it means I've done the scan and everything is good. Everything is progressing as it should. Oh, and the other amazing thing that happened was that same day while I was driving to the blood test, a name for this baby came through. If it's a boy, I've always been worried and agonizing for the last 3 years really about if I ever have a boy, what will I call it? Because when I was pregnant with baby Star, I came up with girls' names. I could not come up with a boy's name. And in the last 8 months when I've been agonizing about this, part of my process has been to try and find a name, because I knew if I could find a name I liked, that would make it easier for me to make this decision to do it. And I still couldn't find one. And then as I'm driving to the blood test, this name popped into my head. I was like, oh my God, this is surreal. I've got this song called Stars playing, this ethereal music. I finally just thought of a boy's name that I like after 3 years of looking for names. It's just like, I mean, I already have girls' names I like, but it was just like, oh my God, it was a really magical day. So anyway, how am I feeling? I'm about 5.5 weeks pregnant, I think now. I feel completely fine. I don't feel any different at all, other than I've gained a bit of weight, and I'm assuming that's from taking all the progesterone and estrogen I'm taking. I've gained a few kilos, probably about 3 kilos, about 6 or 7 pounds. So that's not great, but you know, somebody's just working up. Hello? You're just working up. I always film when she's asleep. Hello, Angel. Did you have a good sleepy? I've just been talking about a secret that you don't know about, but I'll tell you soon. I mean, you probably do know. I'm talking about it all the time on the phone with everybody, so she probably does. Talking about the little baby in Mummy's tummy. That's what I'm talking about. So anyway, if it continues to grow and nothing goes wrong, it will be due in June. So far, so good. I feel completely fine. I don't have any symptoms at all. I didn't have any symptoms last time until the 3rd trimester, so hopefully, fingers crossed, that will happen again. Who knows? I'll be monitoring my blood sugar because I had gestational diabetes last time, so it's likely I'll have that again, but who knows? But other than that, so far I'm feeling really good. So this little munchkin may have a brother or sister soon.
Water.
It's water, yeah, it's water. So the bottom line is I'm so grateful. I'm so in awe. I can't believe this whole thing. It never even occurred to me to have a second one, and then I could feel this baby wanted to come in. I did all this work to get myself out of the way, and somehow I did the embryo transfer, and now I'm actually pregnant. I can't. It doesn't feel real yet, but I definitely am in a very heightened state of gratitude. I'm so grateful. So hope you found this inspiring if you're thinking about having a baby, maybe over 40. But this woman is actually doing it at the age of 50. If you look over here, there'll be another video that you should watch. It'll be totally inspiring. See you guys. I'm sending you so much love, so much baby dust. Bye.
You say bye?